Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. I am doing a trifecta today. I went to play chess. I got my ass handed to me. So I came back and we'll get back to something that I'm good at. I haven't played in a long time. It's been like a year or two, so I accept the loss. It's fine. It hurts, but it's okay. There are more important things. This being one of them. You know, my wife, she often says that well, it's not what she would say. I think I would say it. From being with her, I realized that I experience the world through myself, and not everybody does that. Now, not selfish. I just experience it through myself. I project myself into these other situations. How would I, myself, respond in that situation? Or what have I, in my particular life, has given me this idea of what it would be like in some other situation. I experienced the Puerto Rico thing in a similar way. So, for those who don't know, Puerto Rico is being battered by thunderstorms and by hurricanes. They're being completely slaughtered. Now, nobody is really talking about this, and this is kind of fascinating, and nobody's talking about it because America has responsibility for Puerto Rico. We have responsibility. I remember, this was about 10 years ago, I had gotten extraordinarily ill. Extraordinarily ill. Every 30 to 45 minutes, I would vomit blood, like clockwork. You could have set your watch to it. At the exact same time that I was very, very ill, and in the hospital. At this point, they had admitted me. We were in the midst of a hurricane. This is Richmond, Virginia. We're in the midst of a hurricane. Now, Virginia is maybe 2 hours away from the coast. The hurricane hadn't hit us yet, but it was coming. You could feel it. You could absolutely feel it. It even had a feeling of a hurricane coming. The lights of the hospital went out. In addition to the lights went out, there was no water. There was no sewage, meaning the toilets didn't work. Nothing worked. Everything was off. The water wasn't even good anymore. That morning, you had the capitalists, the best parts of America, increasing the price of water because water was now a hot commodity. The hospital itself had barely enough to keep going. Every 30, 45 minutes or so, or the nurse would come by and she would check on me. Now, the only thing the nurse could do at this point was, how is your son doing? Do you need additional paper towels? Do you need an additional bucket? That was the extent of the powers of the nursing at that point. They did have a generator, so that was a positive. But in regards to everything else that made a hospital, that hospital almost ceased to function. That's in the United States. That's several miles, 100 miles from the coast. And that's a hurricane that hadn't even hit shore yet. Completely wiped out Richmond. How does that look to Puerto Rico? Meaning, it's not 2 hours off the coast. It's in the midst of the hurricane itself. It's been hit by one hurricane, and then it's being hit by another hurricane. The facilities, the communication facilities, the hospitals, all of these things are offline. All of these things are offline. Do we own Puerto Rico or not? And it feels gross when you say it that way, but let's be honest, that's essentially what it is. The United States' ownership of Puerto Rico, but it does not make Puerto Rico a state. Puerto Rico will be a dirt poor state. The United States don't want to add that onto don't want to add that onto their ledger of sorts. However, they're an awesome military post. It's an awesome military post. And yes, they gave those people citizenship. But right now, they're in the midst of a hurricane. After being hit by a prior hurricane. You also have to take into account that the industries that are causing these hurricanes to be more vicious. Put it this way. What set the world order in regards to with regards to energy production? Puerto Rico had nothing to do with that. The major nations of this world had something to do with that. I'm making the point that these hurricanes, the severity of these hurricanes, and the frequency, has something to do with us. These are things that we ourselves are doing. No, we're not doing them alone. You have the rest of the planet or the rest of the world, but Puerto Rico, at the very least, is part of us. There should be more attention paid to what's going on. I'm going to read this article. This is Washington Post. If anyone can hear us, help. Puerto Rico mayor described widespread devastation from Hurricane Maria. San Juan, Puerto Rico. My wife and I visited San Juan, Puerto Rico. It is gorgeous, or at least it used to be. In the northern part of Puerto Rican town of Vega, Baja, the flood waters reached more than 10 feet. Stranded residents screamed, "Save me! Save me!" using the lights in their cell phones to help rescue teams find them in the darkness, the town's mayor said. In Louisa, a northern town, coastal town that already has been ravaged by Hurricane Irma, 90% of the homes, 3,000, were destroyed by Hurricane Maria just days later. In communities across the island, bridges collapsed and highways were severely damaged, isolated many residents. In the Rio Grande, officials had yet to access the number of families struck in their homes 3 days after the power storm made landfall. When speaking about the town's destruction, Raymond Hernandez Torres, mayor of the southern town of Sandia, took a long pause, his voice catching and his eyes filling with tears. "It's a total disaster," he said. Hurricane Maria pounded the entire island of Puerto Rico on Wednesday, but the scope of the damage had yet been speculative and unclear, since a large part of the towns across the U.S. territory have been completely off the grid. Though images from the air showed incredible destruction, mayors were unable to reach central government for leadership and help because communication was impossible. No telephones, cell phones, or internet. No power, no passage through roads that were washed away or blocked with trees or power lines. Is Puerto Rico a territory of the United States or not? Is it a territory of the United States or not? When there was something wrong with, Texas, Donald Trump sent money down to Texas to assist in the cleanup of Texas. Does Puerto Rico have a similar value as any other American colony or state? I mean, yes, we have the distinction of Texas being a state, but do we own Puerto Rico or not? It's a simple question. If we do we not have a responsibility to handle Puerto Rico as if we would handle any other state? Let's stop acting like it's another country, even though Congress has control over the budget and everything else. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to belabor the point. It's just this idea that this island off the coast that we own, that we've made citizens, we own, they're part of us. It's being battered by one storm after the next. You can make an argument that part of those storms, the intensity, the severity, and the frequency have increased due to our behavior. Yes, the United States, because we were somewhat heavy in regards to setting the world order with regards to energy production. And yes, other countries around the world. I'm just making the point that we have a hand in this. And not just have a hand in this, whether we had a hand in it or not. Is that part of our territory or not? Are we taking care of our own, or are we leaving it to its own devices? If we're willing to give money to Florida or Texas or New Orleans, why does Puerto Rico get the cold shoulder? Why? Why? If Congress wants to say that they have authority over Puerto Rico, which they do, shouldn't they also have some level of authority or responsibility in making sure that they're okay, that they're intact? Spend a goddamn $1 trillion in the military. Send some of that military to Puerto Rico to assist them whatever they need. I'll leave it at that. This is just, I look at this as somewhat being one of those just flat fact that's ours and we should take care of ours. So I'll leave it at that. Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to share, rate, subscribe, and of course, you can always support the work through Patreon. Thank you.